Here's the paradox of safety. When your body finally feels safe, it has a habit of bringing up the things that made us feel unsafe in the first place. That's why people can feel surprised when memories or emotions come up during myofascial release or other somatic practices. They expect calm to mean everything disappears. But to the body, calm means it finally trusts enough to resolve what's been underneath the tension. And that's not a setback. It's the beginning of a shift. In this video, I'll tell you why we have repressed memories and emotions, how touch can bring them up, and now how our dreams help us move on. Before we get into why this matters, think of the body like a house with a room you haven't gone into for a long time. Maybe not because you forgot it existed, but because at some point opening that door felt like too much. So the nervous system did something protective. It closed that door. It kept you moving. It helped you get through life without having to feel everything all at once. It's a survival mechanism. And when somatic practices create calm and safety in the body, the nervous system finally says, okay, we can open that door now. The sustained touch from myofascial release works as a flashlight, like walking into the house. When someone holds a specific area in the body, the shoulder, the hip, the ribs, the neck, that sensation can point the brain toward the memories connected to that same body state. So it's not just that calm brings things up, and it's not just that touch triggers a memory, it's both. Calm creates enough safety to open the door, and sustained touch gives the brain the clue for which door to open. That's why a memory can come up during myofascial release. Not because the body is betraying you, but because the system finally has both things it needs. Enough safety to feel, and enough sensation to know where to look. The body protects us by disconnecting. When something feels like too much, the first thing we have to do is understand that disconnection is protection. Protection in the moment. Because when something feels too intense, too painful, too scary, or overwhelming, the body has ways of turning the volume down. Getting through the moment is what is important. The memory doesn't disappear. The body just pushes it out of awareness because we have to go, 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 go. That can be helpful in the short term, but if the body never has the time to do its natural process, which is learning and removing that intensity, it will linger as tension and reactive behaviors. And with all the intensity and busyness of the modern world, it becomes harder and harder to slow down to get to that level of calm. The American Psychological Association found that 86% of Americans constantly or often check their emails, text, and social media accounts. And people who check constantly reported higher levels of stress than people who check less often. The cost of this stress is it disconnects us from the deep places that allow us to resolve and learn from memories, making those memories become scary things that feel unresolvable, leaving that tension, reactive behaviors, and numbness. Body signals becoming harder to read, strong reactions like anger and fear without explanation, and it becomes harder to make choices. I feel scared, or I feel sad, or this reminds me of something. And you might just feel tight, restless, foggy, shut down, or reactive without knowing why. Which brings us to touch and calm. So why would myofascial release bring a memory up? And this is where it helps to understand that memory is not just stored like a fact in your head. Memory is tied to state. It's tied to the 5 senses: posture, emotion, breath, and pressure. That's why a smell can bring you back to your grandmother's house. A song can make you feel like you're in high school again. Or a certain body position can suddenly bring back a feeling that you haven't felt in years. A 2000 study found that people retrieved autobiographical memories faster and remembered them better 2 weeks later when their body posture matched the posture connected to the original event. So the body is not separate from memory. It's part of how memories get accessed. And I've seen this in sessions. I've had clients laugh, cry, soften, get quiet, or suddenly remember something very specific while we're working. One client told me the next day after our session, they had childhood memories come up that they hadn't thought about in 30 years. And there's two pieces here. The first is calm. When the nervous system settles, it leaves keep safe and get it done mode and moves into let's repair and review mode. The second is sustained touch. Slow, steady touch gives the brain a specific body signal to pay attention to. So if I'm holding the ribs, the shoulders, or anywhere else in the body, that sensation can act like a cue. It can point the brain toward whatever memories, emotions, or patterns are associated with that body state. So it's not random. Calm creates enough safety for the body to listen. Sustained touch gives the cue for where to look. Put those two things together, memories and emotions come up. Not because something is wrong, but because the body is finally able to connect the dots. Which brings us to the dream state and how the dream state helps the body turn fear back into calm. This is where we have to understand the dream state. And I don't just mean dreaming at night, I mean the softer state of deep calm. It can happen while dreaming, daydreaming, deep in meditation, or in a creative state. The mind loosens its grip on the present moment, and memories, images, emotions, and feelings start to come out. The mind starts to play. Think of it as an inner playground. The brain takes past experiences and sensations from just a moment to decades ago and starts moving them around. Almost like a child playing with blocks, trying different combinations, seeing what fits. Moving images, sounds, sensations, in combinations that sometimes make no sense. But this is how the brain is making sense. Learning the same way a small child by trying and seeing what happens. When scientists study this dream state, theta waves are constantly coming up. So much so that when they think of REM sleep, where we dream, theta waves are the marker that lets them know that they're there. Theta waves are often associated with that in-between state, light sleep, deep meditation, creativity, memory, and emotional processing. Sounds like something else. And the long sustained touch of myofascial release naturally draws people into this state of deep calm. So when someone starts to feel floaty, quiet, emotional, spacious, or like they're drifting during myofascial release, old material can come up. The body is not just relaxing, it's reviewing and playing. Moments of dreamlike euphoria come up. And also scary, painful, traumatic things can come up. And these are why people avoid slowing down, avoid modalities and practices that take them to this brain state. Because who wants to remember fear, grief, anger, an old scene that's played a million times before? And if you've never stayed with the process long enough or been supported through it, you may think, this is a problem with no solution. But there is a solution. Creatures have been surviving traumatic things for millions of years. The amount of penguins that have survived the jaws of sea lions is very many. Our body has evolved processes to learn from painful experiences and keep going with joy. And for humans, we don't have to do this alone. Imagine a mother holding a crying child. As they hold and rock that child, the distress leaves and the child returns to calm. And this is where the comforting support of a practitioner matters. Because you're not just alone with the scary thing. You're being supported by calm touch. That touch becomes almost like a mother rocking a child to sleep, sending the same clear message. You're safe, I'm here. You don't have to figure this out alone. That's why sustained touch can be so powerful. It's a lullaby of sensation. The body brings something scary or painful, and the calm support gives it somewhere to land. And I've seen this work with clients. When we create calm and allow room for play, softness, and curiosity, memories and situations that once felt scary start to lose their bite. Changing from a reason to fear to information. It's learning. Lessons that make people's lives better. Those memories go from reliving the pain to a story to tell of something that's happening. It's no longer trauma, it's information. And as people rediscover what this natural process feels like, they begin to do it much more easily and automatic for themselves. If you enjoyed this video, click and subscribe.